You're about to watch me read The Fox Wife by Yangsze Choo. I'm honestly really excited about this book because it seems like it's kind of like a murder mystery intertwined with like Chinese folklore and like stories and stuff. So I'm really excited about that, especially because it's like different than the stuff that I tend to read. And I love when they like weave in like their traditions and stories like within a story. So I'm really excited about this because I know like foxes are pretty popular in kind of like Chinese, Japanese, like that part of the world, and I learned this because of Naruto. That's about the extent of my knowledge though. But yeah, I'm really excited about this book. So from my understanding, this book is basically, it follows along this woman named Snow, and so what happens is like her son passes away, like is murdered, and so she's trying to like figure out what happened. And so in this kind of like village there is a courtesan who's murdered, and there's also this family who's, once their kids turn 24, they pass away and there's nothing they can do about it. So Snow kind of becomes like a servant, I believe, at their household, and that kind of changes things, but I'm not entirely sure how. And then she ends up like meeting up with this guy named Bao, and they're kind of like investigating together, is like how I understand it. So I'm excited. It's fun to see, right? Like, it's like, am I right on what the book is about, or am I completely off? Sometimes I'm completely off. So let's find out. I'm gonna crack the book open and let's get reading. But wait, we know the drill. Hardcover, dust cover comes off. Let's see if there's a design underneath. I like to look away. Okay, no, it's not really a design, just from where I bought it. So let's get reading for real now. I'm a little bit more than 100 pages in The Fox Wife, and never have I ever read a book that somehow manages to do first person and third person in such a tasteful way. So the story that's in first person is Snow's story, and she is a fox. She can turn from a fox to a woman, and she can live, I'm pretty sure, forever. Like, she seems very, very old and ancient based on just kind of the stuff that she says, and we kind of read it in form of like a diary entry. And she's basically trying to hunt down this guy because he killed her daughter, and like she was like a little fox baby, and the guy just like killed her. He's a photographer and all this. So she's basically spent the past 2 years trying to find him so she can get her revenge. So events kind of happen, and she actually ends up being the servant for this like older woman who, her family, like the sons, once they reach a certain age, they pass away, and if they have a second son, that first son is bound to die. There's some kind of curse there. And so she ends up like kind of hanging out with this lady. There's also another fox that she ends up meeting as well, and events ensue, and now they're all going to Japan together. They all have like different goals in mind. Hers is, of course, because her trail is kind of leading like the guy that she's trying to find and kill. His trail leads to Japan, and then the other characters, their trail is starting to lead to Japan as well. So kind of worked out. And then in third person, we have Bao's story. And so he's a private investigator, and he was basically hired to figure out like the identity of this dead courtesan. And so this restaurant owner basically opened the door one day, and there was this girl who was like frozen to death, big smile on her face. He was like, oh, I don't want that near my business. So he like kind of dragged her away into the alleyway, and he hires this private investigator, like obviously trying to keep his restaurant safe in terms of like image and stuff. And he's like, I don't want her to become like a vengeful spirit or anything. Like, she needs a proper burial, but nobody knows who she is. So this investigator is basically hired to find out her identity so she can have a proper burial so her spirit can be in rest. Bao finds out that the photographer guy has a picture, which photography is very new in this kind of like time period. And he has a picture of the courtesan girl because he basically looks for women so he can like make them courtesans and stuff. And so he's trying to find the photographer so he can find the photo because he thinks maybe the girl's real name is on there. And so he's looking for this photographer, Snow's looking for this photographer. So I imagine their paths will probably cross at some point, and they'll be able to like help each other out and find this guy. And it's also like, the writing is so beautiful, and there's like some really good like metaphors and stuff that are used, and also just like comparisons to stuff that you don't really find in like American, Canadian, European kind of books. There's like some comparisons, like somebody's face kind of looks like a steam bun. And like, that's really interesting. Like, I've never really thought of it. Like, so like stuff that's really common in like China and Japan, that like that whole day to day is being used to kind of like compare people and objects and stuff. And I was like, huh, that's one of those things, like, I don't know. I just never really thought about it. And that's why I really love reading books that don't just take place in London or America. So it's very cool, and it's really fresh, and it's really rich, and I'm loving this. This is a lot of fun. So I'm going to continue to read, and then I'm going to update you around the halfway mark of the book, and so I'll see you then. I'm now about halfway through The Foxwife, and I am still enjoying this book, and also look how beautiful it is outside. My window is open and it's sunny. The pacing of this book is really good, and there's like that essence of like a bit of a mystery, and you're meeting more characters, like there's more foxes, and all the characters' stories are all connected together, which I think is really, really cool. And again, it's just like written so well, and it's like following along the characters, and like, I'm having such a good time. So Snow, she's in Japan now, and she's trying to find the photographer guy, and she's working kind of with like two of these foxes that she doesn't trust. She has history with both of them. One, I think maybe she had a romantic history with. The other one, like, he's just a nuisance. He's just always causing trouble. Apparently he started like 5 small wars at one point, and it's like, okay, he's a bit of a troublemaker. But it's cool to see like the different dynamics of the characters and like the other foxes in the world. So that's pretty cool to see, especially because she's like kind of going along with these things, but she also really does care about like her mistress, who's like the nice old lady that she basically like works for. And that's a really nice relationship to kind of like watch, because like we don't really see her interact with like humans too often. Like the only way that we ever see it, she's like knocking them out or like stealing stuff from them. So it's nice, like a bit of a difference in how she's interacting with people. And then Bao's story is interesting too, because now that he's finished his other case, he's starting a new case, and turns out he's actually looking for Snow, but he doesn't know that it's Snow. Like, he thinks that she's like a runaway bride, and so he is basically trying to track her down. And the more and more he like looks into it, the more he's like, this is suspicious, and everyone keeps calling her like the fox woman, and there's like all these like lapses in memory when it comes to her. So he's basically trying to track her down right now, and so I'm excited for their paths to cross and like what that's gonna look like. So yeah, I'm gonna continue to read this book, have a great time with it, enjoy the beautiful sunlight with my opened up window, and I'll update you either like towards the end or when I'm finished the book. So I'll see you then. So I just finished The Foxwife, and here are my thoughts. I love the two different kind of point of views. We have Snow's point of view done in first person, and then we have Bao's point of view done in third person. I thought those were both really well done, and I loved the like just kind of learning about like the Chinese culture and like that revolution that was happening in the background. Like, it wasn't like the main focus, but it was in the story and it was like relevant, and I thought that I didn't know about that, and so I learned about something new in the book as well. Everything about the fox spirits was so fascinating to me, and there's even like a little end note at the end with more detail, also more detail about like that revolution and all the stuff and like the meanings behind the names, and I thought that was just like really great educational information. But I really loved just the whole thing about the foxes and like the wrap up of each of the stories of the characters and the different foxes, and just following on like everything, just like it was paced really well. Like, I really enjoyed that. I think the only thing that maybe I didn't really like that much is that the photographer conclusion aspect felt very anticlimactic. Like the whole story was like building up for this point, and then I felt like it just kind of dropped off. But after that, the rest of it was really great still as well. So it was just kind of strange to me because like it felt like it was building, and like I really do like the decisions that certain characters made regarding the photographer, and I like kind of how the ending played out, especially with Snow. But I don't know, it just felt really anticlimactic. I wish that there was more time for her to process stuff. Like, I don't know, I just felt like there was something lacking in that area. But other than that, the book was great. I would give it a total of 4 stars because the writing was really good. It was compelling. It was a really cool, rich kind of story. It was very different. It was kind of like a detective story in a way as well. The only thing that was lacking, like I mentioned already, was just kind of like the wrap up of some of those like main story points. But I like that the characters, like, they got their endings, and some characters got endings that just make sense and are kind of karma, which I thought was a really good way to kind of like weave that in there. But yeah, I had a lot of fun reading this book, and I think that it's definitely on the list of like one of the coolest, most different books that I've read, and it was fun. So the next book that I'm going to be reading is Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the Stormlight Archive series, and it's a hunk-a-lunk. This is somehow bigger than the first one that I read. Like, these books are getting bigger and bigger, but they don't feel like big books. So I'm really excited to read the second book, and it has like the beautiful pictures and stuff in it again. Oh, we got one. The cool pictures. It's got, of course, like, look at this artwork. Beautiful. I love that. Like, usually I don't like when you see characters drawn on like the books and stuff. Like, I mean, I'm not really a fan of the cover, but I think within the book, like, I love that. I think that's really cool. It looks really good. So if you're interested in watching me read the Brandon Sanderson Stormlight Archive series or any other book series that's kind of on my list, I have a book haul as well that you can watch of like the recent books that I'm going to be talking about probably within the next month or so when I get to them. But these Brandon Sanderson books, they took me a week to get through. They're gigantic boys. But yeah, if you haven't already, definitely hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!